Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and hope you're all well. It's been a little while now since I've done a 5-inch gauge video, a couple months at least, so I thought I'd show you yet another new purchase. You know what I'm like. So I went out and bought myself a 5-inch gauge B1, as you can see behind me, and it's all done up as Mayflower, and I'm really excited to show you around it. So come with me, we'll have a look around and then we'll get some running shots. So here it is then, here is my Thompson B1 Mayflower. You can see it's a 460 with a 6-wheel tender, and it is in L&R green livery, 1306 number, with obviously the Mayflower plates. The loco itself is all steaming nicely after a lot of work, which I'll go through in a second, by Brent and Brian, who yet again saving the day. I can't really thank them enough, but I'm really pleased with this. It really is something quite nice. I didn't think I would be in a position to get something like this, but you know what it's like with me and Ollie, Mr. Wardle Road, seem to be subconsciously trying to outdo each other. So obviously he got his 01, I was left with the Pannier Tank, and then I did have a go on his 01, and I just thought, you know what, it might be time for a bigger engine. And right place, right time, Brent phoned me up and said a good friend of his, who is unfortunately quite unwell, is willing to let his Mayflower go. So we went around there in his rocket ship of a car, which is quite impressive. I'll put a picture up. And we had a look at this thing, as well as what it comes with, and I was massively impressed. So I said to the guy I was interested. 2 days later, I couldn't help myself. I went and bought it. Now, this isn't the first running session. We have had quite a few issues with it, which needed ironing out. It's still ongoing. There are a few more niggles to sort, but the main big ones are fixed now, which again, like I say, I'll go through shortly. But you can see it is really nice. The lining on the tender has obviously come off, but the tender I want to change to British Railways anyway, as well as the loco, so the numbers are 61306 to represent how the loco looks now. So it's not really much of a big deal, just a new set of transfers and we'll be good to go. You can see also behind it 2 more purchases, which are also mine, and I bought them along with the B1. So I was going to buy the B1 by itself, but these were just too good to miss out on. So the riding truck is like a general utility van sort of design, but it is on bogies instead of being a 4-wheeler, just to make it a bit more stable for sitting on. It's all wooden construction. All the roof is done with individual wooden panels, and it really is quite smart. It's all hand built, and I believe it's actually one of Brent's chassis, so it's almost like it's gone full circle, which is quite nice. Obviously it's blue, so it doesn't really fit in with the coach, so I might look at doing something with that. I might not. I'm still umming and ahhing whether to go for a 17D inspection saloon at the minute, so that would probably match the coach a bit nicer, but we'll see how we get on. Otherwise it's really nice. It's sprung well, it's got a proper brake on it, so if you have any issues you can just chuck the brakes on, come to a grinding halt, and it's quite comfy, to be honest. And being as it's got bogies on it rather than being a 4-wheeler or 6-wheeler like Ollie's version, sorry, it rides quite well, to be honest. You can see behind it as well, I've got myself a Mark 1 coach. Now this is very similar to Brent's, but this one is absolutely superb. It's beautiful. The full interior is in there with all the seating, all the walkways, everything. The only thing I really could do to improve it is fit some lighting. It's really well detailed, and you know what, it was just too good to miss. I probably will get some of Brent's coaches out just to run also behind the loco. Hopefully they'll sort of match in quite nicely, but it'll just go as like a nice sort of support coach kind of style, hopefully, and really set it off. I'm really pleased with that. But yeah, we'll show you a bit closer around Mayflower's controls and what makes it all go, and then as I said earlier, we'll go for a running session. So here we are then in Mayflower's cab, and the obvious thing in front of you is probably the firebox door and the regulator. The regulator is a nice long handle. The pannier tank regulator, you have to wind it all the way around once to get it to start moving and then keep going from there. Whereas this is much more like the real thing, where it's just a very slight movement gets you going. The firebox door, obviously you can see there, we've got a nice big fire going in there. I've just put some fresh coal on, hence it's still a bit dark. That'll soon pick up. It's a very big firebox on here compared to the pannier tank, which I was just starting to get used to. So you have to fill it up quite a lot more than I realised. You'll also see the two gauges here, which are for the water. They've got blowdowns on them, just so you can get a bit more of an accurate reading. You can see they're about a third of the way up. So I'll put some water in shortly, just to bring that level back up. So you can see at the bottom left, we've got the reverser, which unlike the pannier tank is a screw type. The pannier tank is a lever, which is much easier because you just literally notch it forwards and back. This being a screw type is a bit of a pain in the backside, so what I've done is I've pinched a nut spinner from Brent. Just looks like a screwdriver with a socket sort of attachment on the end. That just fits over the little nubs that stick out, and I can spin it like that, which is a bit sort of cheating really, but for now it does the job a lot easier than having to do it by hand because your fingers get in the way. But yeah, so obviously screw it all the way clockwise to go forwards, all the way anti-clockwise is to reverse. But obviously as you're going forwards, you can back it off further towards mid-gear to save a bit of steam, but on this it's just a bit too much of a pain in the backside if you're shunting about and stuff as well. So I don't really tend to touch it too much. Also near the floor we've got drain cocks, finally, something I didn't have on the pannier tank. So if you have the drain cocks forwards, you'll see at the front of the loco. See there at the front of the loco, it basically gets rid of any water in the cylinders, and then when you're moving again, pull that back towards you. And next to the drain cock, you've got the axle pump bypass. So all the way clockwise means you're pumping the water from the tender straight into the boiler to fill it up, and then anti-clockwise turns it off and bypasses it into the tender, which is in here. That's where the water's kept. Coal obviously in the tender is pretty self-explanatory. Now to get water into the loco, I'm now going to use one of the injectors, which I've got two. You can see one just down there dripping a bit of water, and then there's one on the other side as well. So I'll just open the tap up from the tender. You can see we've got a little bit of water dripping out there, and then this little valve is for the right hand injector. You just slowly apply that. That will now pick water up from the tender and pump it into the loco, and it uses the loco's own steam pressure to force it in. So it's quite a handy way. It saves you using the pump, because if all else fails, you can take the tender, cover off, and use the axle pump that you can see there, the hand pump, sorry. The bypass there is that little pipe. That's where the axle pump bypass is. So you'll know if the axle pump's working. As we found out, it wasn't, because you'll have water coming out of there when it's set to anti-clockwise. So I was trying it with fully closed, just about a third of a turn open. So hopefully that will keep the boiler nice and topped up. Obviously, while you're sitting here not doing a lot, the water level does go down, because obviously you're boiling it off as steam. So you've just got to keep an eye on it. You can't leave these things alone for too long. So talking about the valves, obviously injectors, like I just showed you there. So I've got the right hand injector open now, which is this valve. This is for the left hand one. We've got the whistle, the blower, so that's to help you keep the steam pressure up. We've got a nice big steam pressure gauge here, which is a lot more readable than the pannier tank. And over here, which is something I didn't expect to have, we've actually got steam brakes, which do work. However, the brake rigging is currently off of the loco. But if you open the valve at the top and then operate this, it does actually work with the cylinder that's under the loco. So if you did fit brakes to this, you can go a bit mad and use those if you think you can get down there quick enough. It's a lot easier just to put your feet down or wind the handbrake on the tender. But yeah, that's the sort of main controls. Obviously there's a lot going on, but you soon get used to it, so don't let it worry you if you're looking at getting something like this. It does sort of become second nature after a little while. So let's move on now and let's get some coaches on the back and go for a run. So another nice little thing I'd chuck in is we finally got the Pannier Tank back out along with the B1 and got James down. Got him to take the Pannier Tank around for the day and he took to it like a duck to water, to be honest. He had a great time by the looks of his face and he didn't have a problem at all firing it the whole day. I'm pretty sure he is now hooked, so fingers crossed we might see James with a steamer of his own next year. So looking forward to 2022, more steam, more friends and more good times. So as for this year, that's probably going to have been the last running session that we do. So sadly, the engines are probably going to get drained down, put away for winter into somewhere warm, and then a bit of maintenance, maybe even paint the Pannier Tank black finally, and we'll see how we go. So as for 5-inch gauge, we'll probably see you next year.
Right guys, hope you enjoyed that video. I thoroughly enjoyed making it, obviously being out with friends in the sunshine, even the rain at times. But I did say earlier on in the video I'd run through a couple of the issues we've had with the B1. So just to list them off the top of my head, both the injectors were completely clogged up when I got the Loco, so I couldn't get any water into the boiler because I also didn't have the handle for the hand pump. Don't ask. So we've had to have the injectors off multiple times, clean them out. Then we've cleaned the tender out fully, including all the filters, and run it through. So that's all good now. The injectors do seem to work okay. The manual hand pump, I've got some sort of handle sorted out for that now, so I have been able to use it, and we did get that working. The axle pump on the Loco also wasn't working. You might be able to see in one or two of the clips there's a bit of water dripping under the Loco, so that was coming from that. So that's also been fixed, and that's now working great. I'm trying to think what else now. Oh yes, you would have noticed the lining on the tender transfers is coming off. That doesn't really matter because I am re-liverying the Loco to the British Railways setup as it is now, so it's no biggie anyhow. It's going to be getting a new set of decals and varnish and such. The major work that has gone on has been the front bogie on the Loco, because it's a very big issue with 5-inch gauge B1s where I think there's an issue in the drawings or the design. Something's not quite right, where the size of the cylinders seems to be either too long or the front bogie is too short. So you basically don't have enough room for the bogie to pivot around curves. So what was happening is as you go around a curve, the bogie would pivot and the inside wheel would hit the cylinders. So that would prevent the bogie pivoting enough, and then that would then make the Loco sort of lock up, and it would push the bogie off, causing you to derail. But that happened a few times just after I got it, and it was becoming a real issue. You couldn't really rely on it to go for a day's running. So Brian, being the mad scientist he is, and obviously with Brent's help, has put 1/4 of an inch in the bogie and then welded it back together. So he basically chopped the bogie in half, welded a piece in and put it back together. And I came back and looked at it and I could not tell where they've done it because they've done such a good job. And since then, it's been flawless going around the track. The only other issue which really is starting to worry me now is there is a small steam pressure leak from underneath near the motion. And I'm really hoping that it's not damage to the boiler. Obviously, buying a second-hand Loco, this is the sort of stuff that can crop up, but we need to investigate into that further. But I'm sure with Brent and Brian being the great engineers they are, and hopefully I can get stuck in as well, we can get to the bottom of it and work it out. And that will allow me to get it to a state where it's nice and reliable, and I can take it to other railways such as Gilling, places like that next year, and really enjoy it. So crossing fingers for that. We're going to investigate shortly, and hopefully it's going to be good news rather than bad. But in any case, I'm sure we'll get it sorted. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it again. And as I say, that will probably be the last running session of 2021. The only other thing is I could do a video where we went to Bruce's Railway, which is up the road from Brent's. I have got quite a lot of clips from there. I didn't finish it off what I wanted to film though, sadly. So whether I just do clips of a running session or not, I'm not sure. But that could potentially be another little video. But we'll see. So I'd like to say thank you for watching throughout the year, 5-inch gauge wise, and hopefully see you all around again next year for more fun, more sun and more friends. So stay tuned and I'll see you soon. Bye.